Now, this will be a continuation of my series, Uncomfortable Conversations Volume 3, as in recent weeks we've heard various remarks being made by guys like Tracy McGrady and Dwayne Wade in regards to where Kobe Bryant falls within this overall NBA lexicon when it comes to greatness. Now, in this segment, we're going to hear from Shaq as he alludes to the fact that he could have dominated and won championships even in the early 2000s, and also Kobe wasn't necessarily the driving force of their three-peat. These comments definitely threw off a lot of Kobe fans as they sometimes kind of rewrite the history as far as that early three-peat, sort of taking away a lot of the credit that Shaq was really the driving force of those championships. And before we hear from Shaq, just to add a little bit more nuance to this conversation, let's not forget when Kobe Bryant in 2004 requested the Lakers to make the decision to choose Shaq or him. Shaq always understood him exiting LA in that early fashion was always going to affect the way that he was going to be remembered. And this definitely has rang true because the narrative has definitely shifted even before Kobe Bryant had passed away, that three-peat was sort of a co-championship between the two. Shaq always knew that the way that he was going to be remembered as a Laker was always going to be suppressed due to how abruptly his time in LA came to an end. And make no mistake about it, a lot of his resentment towards Kobe, especially in the mid-2000s, was because of this. And even today, when they mention Laker greats, they do not mention him as much as they should. He's three-peated and won 3 finals MVP as well as a regular season MVP. The only other player that was able to do that in a 3-year span is Michael Jordan. But once again, when it comes to Laker greats, Shaq's name doesn't get tossed out there as much as it should. So as we're about to hear from Shaq, just keep these sentiments in mind. And also after his comments, we're going to get right into the Morris brothers as they begin to check him, because just like many other Kobe stans, they hold Kobe to a high regard, even right below Jordan or even at the same level as Michael Jordan when it comes to that GOAT list. So Shaq reflected on his three-peat era in LA, and he spoke about a few of the dynamics with a young Kobe Bryant on the come up. You guys check it out, and every once in a while, I'll check in.
I say certain things because I know it'll drive him crazy. Like when he first got there at 17, we're not doing that. It's my team. Drive him crazy. So, I heard somebody say one time, the difference between, him and him is he went to the gym 5 hours a day. He had to go to the gym 5 hours a day. He came in at 17.
That is facts, and that's something that Kobe Bryant fans do not understand. The dynamics of the NBA back then was very different, and Kobe at the time was not at the same talent level as the top draft picks. Look at all the raw talent that he came in the league with. But that's the beautiful thing about the Mamba mentality, is that you get better day in, day out, and eventually you're going to supersede guys like Allen Iverson, who for the most part was out with his boys, chilling, drinking, staying up all night. But look how talented he was, that he could still perform like that on the court. Just imagine if he had Kobe Bryant's mindset.
When I came in, I was him. I don't need 5 hours of work. I was him when I came in. Understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So, he was 17 and he boom, and he developed that. And I saw, it's like looking at a whole bunch of puppies and you go, move. And the puppy keeps coming back. Move. And he keeps coming back. Move. And then he starts barking and then he starts biting.
That's the Mamba mentality right there. And Shaq's not lying. As soon as he came into the league, he was him already. If you go back and look at the NBA All-50 ceremony, Shaq was only in the league for less than 3 years, and they already put him on that list. Again, his exit from LA happening so abruptly, Shaq always understood that this was going to affect the way that he was always going to be remembered in LA. And it rings true even to today. A lot of that animosity that we seen Shaq and Kobe have around 2005, 6, 7, 8, on Shaq's side, a lot of it comes from this. Is that he knew Kobe kicking him out was going to affect the way that he was going to be remembered.
Now you got a killer on your hand. So you don't want to speak finesse to a killer. You talk killer talk. This is my team, punk. What? And it would just drive him crazy because I know that I needed somebody else. And I realized that in playing with Penny. See, a lot of people don't realize Penny was Kobe before Kobe.
Yep. That's another prime example. Kobe did not come into the league looking like that. Once again, that's the Mamba mentality. You put in the work day in, day out, and eventually you're going to supersede the other guys.
And Penny came in like that. Kobe had to develop that, but Penny came in like that.
It's a form of tough love.
Yes, that's exactly what it was.
Yeah.
Because when it comes to leadership, you focus on the task or you focus on the relationship. I focus on the task.
Shaq at the time, all the pressure was on him to win. See, he'd been in the finals almost 8 years before him and Kobe got there. And the noise was getting louder and louder as far as Shaquille O'Neal not reaching up to his potential. So that's why he was focused on the task. All the pressure of those championships in 2000, 2001, 2002 was really on Shaq.
Like I will call you one time and tell you that was terrible what you did, just to see your response. If you don't talk back and you do better, now I know I got a killer on my hand. If you give me a bunch of excuses, now I know I got it. Next time I'm not going to talk to you. I'm going to call your manager. Like, because I want to see you and you go to that next level. But I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Never going to sugarcoat it. Like when you love and care about somebody, you want to see them going, you can't sugarcoat it.
Now that scenario is interesting for a number of reasons. Kobe Bryant was trying to apply that same pressure on Dwight Howard when he first came to LA. But because of Dwight Howard's personality, he took it another way. And eventually we seen him walk out in free agency. But that was Kobe Bryant testing him the same way Shaq tested Kobe, with the whole aura of, you got to punch me in the face in order to take this team away from me. Once again, Kobe Bryant's a killer. He was willing to punch Shaq in the face to take the Lakers away from him. That's the craziest part about Kobe. That is one crazy motherfucker, man. But he wanted it that bad. So a lot of the Kobe Bryant fans were upset about Shaq's comments, even though they do ring true. And Shaq had did a sit down with the Morris brothers, where just like many other Kobe Bryant fans, they questioned Tracy McGrady on why he felt that if he got swapped out with Shaq, he would have the same results. And when we take a step back and just look at what they're really saying, from Tracy McGrady to the Morris brothers, is that they're low-key putting Shaq on a high pedestal. Again, even to this day, there has never been a player that has dominated in the way that Shaq does. And it's really crazy to put this in perspective, that Shaq, for the most part in his later years in LA, he was out of shape and he still dominated and won championships. That's how good he was.
T-Mac made a statement the other day, and I'm going to answer after you guys answer. He said, if you switch him and Kobe out, as far as playing with me, the outcome is the same. You agree or disagree?
No, you're not just saying you switching out with Kobe and you're gonna be what Kobe was. That's not. Yeah, I don't agree with nothing that. Nothing away from T-Mac. Great player. Oh, you not Kobe. Yeah, and that mentality too.
I might have to disagree.
Shaq already having a rebuttal because he understands that he was a dominant force, and in his mind, he still remembers Kobe being a young pup, him not being as experienced. Also, Shaq appearing in the finals with 3 different teams with 3 all-time guards, Penny Hardaway, Kobe Bryant, and Dwayne Wade. That's how dominant Shaq was. And even after leaving LA, he finished top 3 in the MVP voting list year in, year out in the mid-2000s.
And is though, big fella, is the mentality. Like it was on, like that killer mentality. Everybody didn't have that. Like he was a great player. Don't get me wrong, but it was times that Mike and Kobe. I felt like that Mike gave Kobe something that nobody else would be able to even imitate and be able to like have that mentality. A lot of players no other players had it really.
I agree with you saying, but I'm saying I didn't look at it like that. That's why I like everybody's opinion. You don't think I could have won 3 with T-Mac? I think I could have.
Yeah, for sure.
T-Mac was a bad boy.
But then it was bad.
Now right here, I'm gonna shoot Kobe Bryant some bail. I'm not sure if T-Mac had it in him the way Kobe was carrying the Lakers when Shaq showed up all fat and sloppy. He was carrying them through the regular season in those last few years. I don't know if T-Mac, because of his back issues, was going to be able to carry that kind of load.
T-Mac was a bad boy.
I feel like time you put any of the you could say that about outside of T-Mac. You could say a lot of them. Put him next to you at that time.
Good point. All right, what about Vince? Me and Vince.
I feel like
3 in a row.
I feel like people downplay Vince. They just think he a dunker. Vince was one of the most talented players ever played. I believe the same.
That's another player that had more raw talent than Kobe Bryant did. You see, again, there goes that Mamba mentality. T-Mac, Vince Carter, these guys had more natural ability than Kobe Bryant. Kobe Bryant is not as fast as Michael Jordan. He doesn't have the hand size. He doesn't have the speed. He's not as efficient. But him and the Mamba mentality, just putting in the work day in, day out, even being obsessive as to figuring out the way he lands on the floor after taking his jumper. That type of mentality, you're eventually going to be great regardless.
Same thing.
Actually, when he said that, a lot of people hit me, but T-Mac was a bad boy.
Yeah, for sure.
He was.
And I feel like even not saying it, it's just like Kobe, just watching, playing in the league, and was a fan of, like, everybody watched T-Mac. Everybody knew how good T-Mac was. But if you asking a question about him or Kobe Bryant, I don't know what team they was on. If he, obviously everybody's path different, but like what Kobe has, there was only one other player that's the greatest player in the world has. Like they're the only two that has that.
So we always hear about the GOAT debates. We all play, and I know we're friends with some of these people. My take on it is, doesn't matter who you pick, I want to hear the right names. So somehow it's just LeBron and Jordan.
Facts. Now, Shaq right here touches on a point that it goes over a lot of NBA fans because sometimes we're always going to get caught up in our own era. But when it comes to GOATness or just winning and just overall game impact, there are levels to this. There's certain guys that you could put them on shitty teams. They're still going to make the playoffs. They're still even going to win a couple of rounds. There's levels to this. Even guys like Hakeem Olajuwon, who was basically a Giannis with a jump shot and post-up moves. He made the finals in his sophomore season, and he still was able to eventually down the line win the NBA championship. Meanwhile, in the same season, winning Defensive Player of the Year. There's levels to that GOAT conversation, and it gets uncomfortable when you got to factor in guys that get overlooked like him into that top 10, top 11. Again, there's levels to this. And right before we continue here from Shaq, we're going to jump real quick and listen to Kobe Bryant speak about the levels of GOATness after his three-peat. He was asked about this during his Disney World trip, and he revealed the truth about his placement among certain names when it comes to the levels of greatness and overall impact on a team. You guys check it out, and every once in a while, I'll check in.
Can you give me your all-time starting five?
Oh, of all time?
All time.
Magic at the point. MJ at the 2. Larry Bird at the 3. Bill Russell at the 4. This is tough. Wilt at the 5.
Now notice all those names, high overall impact right away as soon as they got into the league. And you can fit Kareem overall in that top 5 because Kareem, he's been so dominant at every single level. Even at the high school level, they had to change the rules about the game because he was so dominant. But Kobe Bryant right here gets asked about where does he fall within that lexicon. And look at his reaction because this is the real answer right here.
And I'm struggling because, Kareem and Wilt, I mean, they're neck and neck. So,
Are you sixth man?
no, dude, I'm nowhere near that stuff, man.
Now, Kobe gave his honest answer, but peep the names he's about to list because there are other high impact guys as soon as they came into the league that they brought their teams automatically to certain levels. Listen to the names that he's about to list.
You still got Jerry West, you still got Oscar Robinson, you still got Walt Frazier, you still got Bob Petty, you still got, the list goes on and on and on.
Those are high impact players, all of them. Those are high impact players. As soon as they came into their team automatically went up to a certain level. So sometimes when you hear guys like Shaq speak, they're speaking from the perspective of guys that are standing on the mountaintop who automatically, when they go to a team, it's a high impact player. That team is going to elevate all the way up to a certain level automatically. There is no missing the playoffs. That right there, unfortunately, is where a lot of the Kobe Bryant stands. I don't even want to say Laker fans. The Kobe Bryant stands, they kind of get that mixed up. Even for the overall Laker greats, as far as impact, you got to look at guys like Magic and Kareem. They're going to be up there. And me, myself, coming out of NYC, one of our great baseball legends in the Yankees, which is a very similar franchise to the Lakers as far as having so many greats. Even though a lot of us current day have Derek Jeter as possibly one of the greatest Yankees, we do have the understanding that there are players that had came in and wore the uniform and had greater impact and better overall talent. And that's something right there. I believe that's a gap between Laker fans and a lot of the legends that had came into that building. There's a misunderstanding. They have no idea of the guys who came into that building and some of the overall impact that they had on the game. A lot of the current day Laker fans, even to this day, have no real awareness of the impact of guys like Elgin Baylor, who pretty much changed the way black players in the NBA was perceived. They were mostly steals and rebound and hustle guys. But when he got there, it showed other NBA teams that they could rely on black players, as Elgin Baylor averaged over 35 points a game in multiple seasons. And he's one of the reasons why Jerry West got to so many championships. But it shows you how many high impactful guys that had worn that Lakers uniform, very similar to the New York Yankees. It's kind of amazing how the NBA, by the time Elgin Baylor had came into the league, did not necessarily play the game through a black player as far as him being ball dominant and scoring. And 20 years later from that date, they went from that type of stereotyping to having Michael Jordan be the face of the whole league. Once again, you fellas have your Googles, do the research, it's all there. The history cannot be erased once you dig through all the narratives.
How about your all-time Lakers starting five?
All-time Lakers starting five. Let's see, you gotta go with Magic. It's funny because a lot of these players are in my five, or in the top 10 of all time. You're talking about Magic.
Once again, right here, Kobe Bryant acknowledging some of the greats to ever play the game have worn the Laker uniform. Very similar to baseball. Some of the greats of all time have worn the Yankee uniform. And in New York City, those legends get respect. But on the other side of the country, when it comes to the Lakers, because they've had so much success within the last, I would say 20 to 30 years, they kind of forget some of the players that came through the building before those current day stars.
Magic, talking about Jerry West, Elgin Baylor.
Kobe Bryant knows his history. There goes Elgin Baylor. He's one of the reasons why NBA teams start to expand on the African-American players outside of just hustling and getting steals and playing defense. The numbers are there in the record books. Elgin Baylor has multiple seasons where he's averaging 35 points a game.
Magic, talking about Jerry West, Elgin Baylor, Kareem, and Wilt.
All right, you're going to run a double center offense?
Yeah, what we do too, Powell and Andrew. So.
Shout out to Kobe Bryant right there. He definitely is a savant of the game. And that's something we cannot say for today's modern player. A lot of guys like Anthony Edwards have made certain comments where you could tell they do not know the history of the game. And a lot of the things that they're bringing to the game today, it's really nothing new. It's literally copy and paste. They're just not aware of the levels of inspiration from decade to decade. Just like how Michael Jordan modeled his game after David Thompson.
So we always hear about the GOAT debates. We all play, and I know we're friends with some of these people. My take on it is, doesn't matter who you pick, I want to hear the right names. So somehow it's just LeBron and Jordan. But my argument is, shouldn't Kobe be in that conversation?
Without a question. Without a question.
Like,
Without a question.
doesn't matter, like me, I pick Mike.
Right.
Play with Kobe, play with LeBron, both extraordinarily great, but Mike was that guy.
Mm-hmm.
To me, Mike is the greatest of all time, but I just hear people go straight from Mike to LeBron and no Kobe.
Yeah.
What's your...
Man, Shaq, people go straight from Mike to LeBron, and there's no Magic Johnson, there's no Larry Bird, there's no Kareem. There's a few names that could be argued to be in that mix, and they're not in there. And it's very shameful that Magic Johnson right away should not be tossed in that level. Him along with Larry Bird, they only played about 12 to 13 years. But yet Magic Johnson has achieved more success on the court than LeBron in 20. And Larry Bird, for the most part, had achieved what LeBron did in 12 years until LeBron got his 4th championship in the bubble in 2020. The history books cannot be erased.
Your take on that?
I think Magic should be in there somewhere too. I think Magic, if what happened didn't happen, I think he had a chance to be one of the greatest.
Magic contracted the HIV virus while he was in his prime. Sometimes the narrative makes it seem like Magic was an older player. No, Magic was in his prime when he caught the HIV infection. I believe he was 31, about to turn 32 years old. So he was still relatively in his prime.
What about Steph Curry?
It's over Magic or just
No.
one of the greatest?
In the
One of
conversation.
the greatest?
That's a conversation a lot of people are not ready for. It is going to be very hard to leave Stephen Curry out of that top 10. It's going to be very, very difficult. And that's not even including overall impact on the game itself. It's kind of crazy because the last time we seen that level of impact was from Michael Jordan. The fact that teams realize that they can actually win championships and have great success outside of just building around the center. He sort of changed the way even GMs thought about building teams. And Stephen Curry has changed the game in a way where now taking 60-foot three-point shots or just taking three-point shots in transition when you have a 3-on-1 situation is not even perceived as a crazy shot.
Listen,
yeah, for sure.
There's 8 billion people in the world. Everybody's going to have their opinion, but I would like to hear the proper criteria.
Yeah, for sure.
Whoever you pick. So, do you think Steph Curry should be there? I do.
I think he's one of the greatest that played the game. He changed the game. He was a part of changing the game,
Kareem's in the conversation.
without a question.
Kareem?
Will
Is Wilt in the conversation? I believe.
Nah, I don't think so.
Oh, interesting. Why?
You only had 2.
Yo, Shaq really wants to be on that pedestal when it comes to Laker fans thinking about their all-time greats. And it's definitely true. The way Shaq has success in LA, he should be remembered either on the same level or even greater than Wilt.
2 rings?
So rings are very important in this conversation.
I don't think so.
You don't think so? Why
I don't
not?
think so. I mean, because it's like,
Come on
like
now.
a lot of players, no, not saying that he shouldn't, but just winning anyway is hard to do. So for somebody to win 2, you can't. I don't think it's just like, yeah, he ain't win enough. Like you won 2, that's enough. Some people can't win at all. You got a lot of greats that haven't won, and their career is downplayed because they didn't win, but they were great basketball players. You know what I'm saying? So the criteria,
Yeah, but we're
fluctuates.
talking the greatest of all time.
Facts. Tell him, Shaq. There's impact in winning. Those 2 things don't disappear. If you look at the names, impact and winning, that shit don't change.
Yeah. So is that like a top 5 list, or is that just like the greatest?
Mine is Mike, LeBron, and Kobe.
Mine's-
Oh, so Steph's not in your conversation.
No, he's
So
not
we're
in
talking about the 3 greatest of all time. Let's just put the number on it.
he's not in anybody's conversation. I'm saying, but should he be added? That's
Right,
what I'm
but
asking.
hold on. You always ask that question, but now you're saying he's not in your
I'm not saying he's not. I'm saying should he be added? I've already made mine. Michael Jordan is the greatest of all time.
Yeah.
Period.
Gotcha.
That's my statement.
Does Bill Russell get in this conversation?
He should. He
Okay.
should be.
That's hard. When you
It
have
is
that
hard,
conversation, it's like
Because also you think about Wilt, and you think about like Jerry West. They were on the non-Celtics teams where those guys didn't switch teams ever.
Yeah, right.
They had like 10 guys that are in the Hall of Fame, and it's like one dude versus all of them.
Right.
And then we're judging them on.
Once again, there goes the Elgin Baylor talk. You see how Elgin Baylor's name is not tossed in as Jerry West's teammate? He's one of the reasons why Jerry West got to so many finals. And unfortunately for him, he had to retire due to injury, and then the Lakers had ended up winning the championship the following season. But another interesting point that was brought up was the lack of player mobility. See, if certain teams dominated right away, there was no player movement. The NBA throughout the 80s, the players went through a 7-year lawsuit just to get free agency. And when you factor in the rules of the game, the fact that the game was very restrictive compared to the freedom of movement that we see today, it begins to get tough to make an all-time list because you can't compare era to era. I'm always saying this, but the rules used to be so restrictive that on a fast break, if guys were past the ball and they bobbled it for a quick second, that's an automatic travel. Most spin moves were travel. There was no three-point line. Also, guys just chucking up threes was not a normal shot until Stephen Curry and Mark Jackson made it a normal shot. There's just way too many factors to make a real GOAT list. But there should be a Mount Rushmore as far as winners and overall impact in the NBA.
Not beating them.
Yeah, right.
But then we're also giving Bill Russell credit for 11. Like there's a lot of arguments that argue against themselves. But Will also was averaging 50 points per game for a season.
That's a lot.
And those are our three. I think Mike, Kobe, Brian. You figure it out. Mike is the greatest of all time. Kobe cannot be the closest to Mike and not be top 3 greatest of all time. That doesn't even sound right.
That last statement right there is where Laker fans really get it confused. They automatically put Kobe right next to Jordan, but if you look at both of their stats, you just line it up career-wise, going from year to year, there's not one stat you could point at to say Kobe Bryant is better than Michael Jordan. Not one stat. Once again, let's listen to that exact comment because this is where the confusion really comes from. And it's hard for a lot of Kobe stans, not Laker fans, but Kobe stans to understand.
And those are our three. I think Mike, Kobe, Brian. You figure it out. Mike is the greatest of all time. Kobe cannot be the closest to Mike and not be top 3 greatest of all time. That doesn't even sound right.
Yeah, one of the Morris brothers got to actually line up the stats and show what makes him exactly on the same level as Jordan. Like, what's the one stat that shows you as far as efficiency, steals, rebounds, points? You got to show us what makes him on that same level automatically, because that's an assumption that they make off rip. Because Kobe had the same mannerisms as far as his on-court motions, the way he shot the fadeaway, the way he dribbled the ball, sometimes having his tongue out. He imitated a lot of the mannerisms from Jordan. And he did it so much that he used to wear a baldy when he was in high school, and he started growing the fro because the overall narrative was growing louder and louder that he was completely copying Jordan. That's when you start to hear him say his favorite play was Jerry West, and he mentioned even Mike D'Antoni at a time because he himself grew up in Europe. And all this extra dumb shit to throw you off. Because that's the kind of person Kobe was. He did a lot of shit to throw you off. But in reality, Jordan was his favorite player of all time. But it is what it is. In recent weeks, a lot of players, because of the media landscape and just the way the overall podcasting field is, a lot of the ego once in a while is going to come out. You hear comments from T-Mac, D-Wade, Shaq. A lot of these guys are legends, no doubt. But at the end of the day, there's a lot of missing nuances that need to be brought up when they have these type of discussions. And besides making a GOAT list, maybe there should be more of a focus on a Mount Rushmore of just overall impact and winning.